My name is Clarissa Alayeto, and I'm the chairperson of Community Board 1. All right, we are going to call to order. Awesome. Stephen, we're going to go into roll call. All right, so I will call everybody's name on the board, and I'm also going to highlight, we have new members, so I do want to highlight our new board members. We do have quorum. Okay, Clarissa Alayeto, that's me, I'm present. Evelyn Alvarez. Nagande Ambrose. Zion Baldwin. Daniel Barber. Robert Barnes, who's one of our new board members. Welcome, Robert. Kevin Bolden. Carol Brody. Carol Brody. Cecil Brooks, also a new board member, returning board member. Betty Ryan Brown. Stephanie Colazzo. Carolyn Chamorro. Maura Cosmo. Christina Colbert, another one of our new board members. Audrey De Jesus. Jacqueline De Jesus, another new board member. Naisha Diaby, another new board member, but she's not here yet. Linda Duke. Josephine Fernandez Burns. Ramona Ferreira. Henry Gomez. Brenda Goodwin. Christina Licata. Sonji Lopez. Leslie Lopez Hernandez. Also a new board member, new to the board, but has been attending our public sessions and has been part of the communications committee for a while. Paola Martinez. Nellie McKay. Delerny Warren. Argelia Ortiz. Emmanuel Padilla. I saw him, he's here.
Yeah, he's here. He's outside, right there.
Marilyn Mena. Freddie Perez Jr. Rosa Pinero, also a new board member. Joyce Polfus, also a new board member. And Joyce, did I pronounce your last name correct? Claudia Rockman. Jose Rodriguez. Mohammed Sheikh. Patricia Simpson. Whitney Williams. Cesar York. We have quorum. All right. Welcome back, everybody. We are at the beginning of our session. In September, we were out for 2 months, out from board meetings, but we were still meeting. We were still doing this work. So I want to thank Stephen and our district manager, Anthony Jordan, for putting in this work, and all of the interns and volunteers that we had over the summer. We had summer youth employment, youth at this office doing a lot of work, and so that was great. So I just want to thank them all for keeping the office afloat every day and during the summer. We want to get approval of the full board minutes. So can I get a motion to approve the full board minutes by hand, by show of hands? Can I get somebody? Robert Barnes? Make a motion. Robert Barnes makes a motion. Can I get a second? Audrey De Jesus seconds the motion. The minutes are approved. We do have the district attorney who's gonna come up. So we wanna recognize her when she comes in. Is she coming in now? She is here. She's not ready yet? 6:25? 45. All right, so we'll come back and we'll go into the public session. We'll go into public session right now, so what I'm gonna do is ask for, Herman Francis. Mr. Herman Francis. Is there anybody on the list that signed up for the public session? All right, Bronx Defenders, is Bronx Defenders here? All right, come on up. Okay, so we're gonna pause for 1 second, and we're gonna recognize Darcel Clark, our district attorney, and we're gonna hand over the mic to Darcel Clark and then we'll reconvene. So thank you, and welcome Bronx VA. Or Helia, you can give her. She still got her stuff in her hand. Let's wait till she gets her stuff down.
Good evening. Wow. I didn't mean to just walk in and interrupt, so I was just waiting. I'm gonna sit down. So many of my friends, it's good to see everybody. I've always seen people out in the community, so it's good to come back to the community board. I am Darcel Clark, the Bronx District Attorney. I'm serving my 3rd term now. Thank you to the people of my office is on 161st Street, and we have almost over 1,000 employees, 450 lawyers, and the other half of professional staff, made up of mostly women now, have like 57% women, which is nice. It's just a great office. Our job is public safety first and foremost, right? I became the DA after a long history in criminal justice. I'll just give a brief background on who I am so you can understand where my vision comes from. I'm raised in the Bronx my whole life. I grew up in NYCHA, public housing, Soundview houses. This area is of particular interest to me. My grandmother lived in Melrose houses. She was divorced from my grandfather, but he lived in Patterson houses. Okay. So I know this area very well. My cousins were in Millbrook, so I'm very familiar with the South Bronx. And NYCHA, you know, you can take the girl out of NYCHA, but you can't pick NYCHA out of the girl. So that's who I am. So I see things through that lens, having been raised my whole life in public housing and going to New York City public schools as well. First generation college and law school, you know, always been committed to public service my whole life. After going to Boston College undergrad, I went on to Howard University School of Law to get my law degree. Yeah, you know. And after leaving Howard, I could have gone anywhere, but I came back to the Bronx because this was my life. Public service was my life. I tried the law firm after my 2nd year law school. I made a lot of money and I was bored to death because I wasn't helping people. I wanted to have a job that mattered. I wanted to do something where I could have the greatest impact on the lives of the people that I serve. And I came back and I started my career as an assistant district attorney in the DA's office in 1986. And here I am full circle now, the district attorney of the Bronx, the first woman district attorney, and the first woman of color elected DA in the state of New York. So, and I want that to mean something. So I'm the first, but I don't want to be the last. But in the last 8.5 years, I'm still the only one. So I know somewhere in here, somewhere in the Bronx, there's another woman that's going to succeed me. And then, you know, that's what I want to be, an example to the people that I serve. But like I said, I always wanted to have the greatest impact. When I started in 1986, it was nail them and jail them. That's what we did. That's what public safety was. You round up everybody in the neighborhood. Everybody went to jail, right? The DA's office, they brought it in. If it was in the penal law, we charged it. We went to trial. We had a lot of trials. We got a lot of convictions back then. That's what it was all about. And that led to what later became mass incarceration. Because there's better ways to do this work. That everybody doesn't have to be in jail or prison, right? So that's different now. I understand that, having the experience that I have. But, I spent 13 years in the office doing that work, doing, drug prosecutions and violent crimes. And in 1999, I left and became a judge. And for 16 years, I served as a judge in this county, 13 years as a trial judge for criminal and the Supreme Court, and then later in the appellate court, where the trials, after cases are tried, when people appeal their cases, there are judges that hear those cases. I did that. So I did that for 13 years. And in 2015, I was asked to run for district attorney when Rob Johnson, my predecessor, decided not to run again. I ran, and in 2016, I became the DA. And since that time, my vision for the office is pursuing justice with integrity. And that means doing the right thing even when nobody is looking. And I changed that office from what it was to nail them in jail to what it is now, where we do not just prosecution. My job now is prevention, making sure we get out to community boards like this and answer your questions to see what resources you need to make sure that your community can be safe and that you can be safe. Getting resources for our kids to have something to do, all kinds of things, mental health facilities, substance use disorder, which I know is a big problem in this area. I know the hub very well. I grew up around here. 3rd Avenue is where we did our shopping when Alexander's was on one end and Hearns was over there. Some of y'all don't know nothing about that. I know about that. I know I don't look that old, but I remember it. Before we got over it. Anyway, that plaza now is so disheartening to know what that is. And they built a plaza, and now it just attracted more that element. And we need to do more about it. We could talk about that some more. So it's about prevention. It's about intervention. People are going to come into the criminal justice system because we have not resolved the root causes of crime. What is causing people to commit crimes in the first place? And you know what it is? The schools are not doing well. The kids are not staying connected to school. People have mental health challenges. People are addicted to drugs. There's poverty. Housing is one of the biggest things of all. A lot of this stuff you see out here is because people have nowhere else to go, right? So housing, all of those things play a role in getting people caught up into the system. And when something goes wrong, the default is call NYPD and get the DA involved. And it may not necessarily be, we should not be the solution. We should be the last resort, not the first resort. So until we get those resources for the prevention, until we build more for intervention, so as people come into the system, I look at every single case. I don't paint with a broad brush. I have changed the culture in my office, and it's still changing, because it takes a long time to get people to change their hearts and minds. But I want people to understand my vision of pursuing justice with integrity. So when a case comes in now, I'm teaching my assistants, it's not about what the charges are, it's about who is this person and how did they get here? And what is justice going to look like in this particular case? And that looks different with every single person. And that's what I've been training them to do, trying to get resources so we'll be able to answer those questions. So intervention is one of those things. So as they come in, they gotta have off-ramps. That means diversion programs, things that can get them the treatment and the help that they need, rather than being in the criminal justice system. So the job is prevention and intervention. And then of course it is prosecution. I'm unapologetic about being the DA. I'm gonna tell you that right now. Because every day I hold people accountable that's bringing harm to you and your families. What that accountability looks like is different with every single case. But I'm gonna make sure that we hold accountable those people that need to be held accountable. So I'm not gonna apologize for that. That's what you voted me here to do. But I'm also not gonna apologize for being a DA that believes in giving people second chances and connecting them to the services that they need so that they can be productive citizens. People find themselves in circumstances that they never thought they would be in. Raised in good homes with good families and still lose their way. And we have to understand that that's how it happens in our society. And I, as a district attorney, have to recognize that and know that I have to have empathy and compassion for those people as well that need to deserve second chances. So that's prosecution. And last is re-entry. People are going to come. They're going to commit crimes. They're going to be held accountable, and they're going to end up in jail or prison. But guess what? When they're done their time, they got to go back somewhere. They're going to go back home, and it's right back to our community. So we need to make sure that we do what we can to help them be as productive as possible. So people would think, why would a DA be involved in re-entry, helping somebody, a felon or somebody that's been convicted? Yeah, that's my job, because they're my constituents too. And they deserve a right to live freely and safely, and most importantly, to have an opportunity not to reoffend. So that's the job that I do as well. I know that you have a lot of concerns that happen in your community. I have Jordan Jackson here. She's the chief of my crime strategies bureau. She's the one that helps me collect the data. Let's see what things are happening. And so many times, I mean, I can look at the whole Bronx and I see where violence are, quality of life, all those crimes. But what we also are doing, overlaying that with what resources are there. And when we do that, we find that there's places, there's nowhere else to go. There's this one, hotspot of violence after another. And then there may be, a lot of drug treatment programs where people are getting treatment, but they're not getting the help that they need. They're getting the help with the substance use, but are we doing anything more for them? People are homeless, all of those things. So as we overlay with the resources, that's how we're going to get the work done. And I come out to communities because I could sit up there on 161st Street for as long as I want and say, okay, community board one, this is what they need. And I can just rattle off stuff that I think you need. But if I don't come out and talk to you and find out from you what your concerns are and what your needs are and what you think you need to get safe, then I'm not doing my job. So the reason why I come here, I'm happy to come and answer your questions and find out your concerns, but most importantly, I want to hear not only the complaints, because I know they're wrong, but I also want to come out of here with some solutions. I want to hear your ideas, because you're the ones that can help me solve this. We're all in this together. This is the work. Everybody has a role to play in public safety. It can't just be the police and prosecution. It should not be just the police and prosecution. So community, you play a role in that. The police, we have to have mutual respect between the community and the police, and we work on that each and every day. The 4-0 precinct does a fine, job in doing that. I think the 4-2 is part of this community 4-2. No, just the 4-0. Just only the 4-0. And PSA 7, okay? Well, you got nothing. NYCHA and PSA 7 is the largest one. And the 4-0. So we're going to have mutual respect for those who are here to protect and serve us. And they have to have the same amount of respect for the community as well for us to get this done. I see Ann Matthews here from Bronx Defenders. I've known her for a long time since she started practicing in the Bronx. When I was a judge, she used to practice in front of me. So it's happy to have her as a partner. Believe it or not, we get along. People may think, oh, defense attorney for the prosecutor. Yeah, it's an adversarial, concept. But at the same time, we both want the same thing. We want safe in our communities. She wants to make sure that I'm fair to her clients. So that's why people need to understand that we have public safety and fairness at the same time. That's the goal, and that's what we do. So that's why I can have a partnership with Ann Matthews. That's why Bronx Defenders can call the people in my office and tell me their concerns about a particular defendant or a particular case. And I'm going to look at it. And that's how I built my office. I have a conviction integrity unit that looks back at past convictions to see whether or not we got it right. And somebody's wrongfully convicted, the first thing I want to do is make it right. But not only make it right, but also learn from the errors that have happened in the past so that we don't do them again. I have a Crime Victims Assistance Bureau that is there to assist witnesses and victims of crime. A lot happens to people, and I want to make sure that they're safe. I want them to be courageous enough to report and to work with us so we can find the people that are causing the harm and make sure that we hold them accountable. So my Crime Victim Assistance Bureau is there, whether somebody's arrested or not. We still work with families every day. I've sat with families, I tell you, I'm so tired of going to funerals and vigils and talking to mothers and fathers that have lost their children and young people that are, killing each other like me. We're losing a generation right now of our kids. They're so young when things, are happening. And we have to make sure that we got to invest in our youth. We really do. And in this particular precinct, we have a lot of problems with youth and gang and crew activity. And I want to do more to meet them. I've sat down with some of these gang members and crew members. And you know what I say to them? I'm the Bronx BA, right? You don't really want to deal with me. And I don't really want to have to prosecute them. I tell them that. And my question to them is, you tell me what I need to do to get you to put that gun down, and I'll make it happen. Now, my office, I don't have a whole lot of money, but I know there's a whole lot of resources this city has, and I will bring the people that are responsible for a particular area to a meeting, gather with community leaders, youth, whoever. I'm so tired of talking about the problems of our youth and no young people in the room. We need them to be here so they can tell me what they need to keep them safe and to stop them from getting involved in crime. So, that's the work that my office is doing. I'm not going to talk long, but I'd rather you ask me the questions that you want to ask me. And, I'm just happy. Thank you, Mr. Jordan, for having me. All of the board, thank you so much. All of you in one way or another. We see each other. So many of you in the community as well. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much, DA Clark. I want to thank the YMCA for hosting us here, but I also want to acknowledge my co-chair, my vice chair, Nagande Ambrose, who's sitting right next to me over on the other side, and the executive team of CB1. I also want to acknowledge the importance of what our DA shared, the partnership and the work, the collaboration that happens, because a lot of the times we think Bronx offenders, legal aid, DA, it's all like one against the other, but this is a collaborative effort, and it's important that that's mentioned because in our communities, oftentimes, we're afraid to talk with people who have difference of opinion and think different from us. But it's good to bring that in and welcome that and learn from each other so that we can, focus on the solutions together. And so, DA, thank you for bringing that up. I do want to open the questions to the executive team and to the board members first. So if there are any questions from the executive team at this moment, please let me know. Audrey?
I remember when she first got appointed, I was appointed on community board too, and I had the privilege of sitting with her at that meeting the first time. She is very hands-on, and my question is, how do we address mental health issues when they come to your office?
Well, I created a community justice bureau. It used to be called Alternatives to Incarceration Bureau, but it's more than about incarceration. It's about making sure that we get justice for people. So I changed it to community justice because that's what's important. So when someone comes to my office and they present with a mental health issue, my community justice bureau is the one that reviews that case. And we see whether or not there's a treatable need. We try our best to match them up with some type of programming where they can get the mental health treatment that they need. The problem is we don't have enough facilities. We don't have enough programs. They do exist, but we have to make sure that people get there, right? We have to meet people where they are. And if there's more in the community, it's easier to do this. I know Ms. Matthews could tell you, and I mean, when I was a judge, so many times there's not enough resources there for us to meet the needs of all the people that are out there. So it ends up that judges end up saying, well, I got no other choice. They're too dangerous, or their mental health, they're a danger to a community. And they end up in the largest mental health facility that we have in the city right now, which is Rikers Island. And Rikers is not equipped to handle the different mental health cases that are there. So we have to do more to identify real partners. And there's enough. I mean, I'm not saying that they don't exist. We work hard to match people with it, but it takes a lot of time. We have to make sure that, that they have enough doctors and clinicians and everyone else to help. And you also have to make sure that those who need it are ready to receive it, because we can't to do it. I know people would love to say, well, make them, yeah, we can't do that. And so we want to make sure that we get them ready so that they can get the help that they need. And that's going to be the solution to us solving some of the crimes that are committed people with mental health.
Thank you, DA. I also want you to mention, because I sat at a meeting the other day and I thought it was really important and valuable information. My brother's a public defender. Sometimes we talk about what's needed in the community. And so one of the things that we're constantly talking about is like, the community needs investment. We need community investment. And I thought it was really, really interesting and like great that you mentioned going to the city council. Usually when people go to the city council, we know that we're asking for money for whatever it is that we need. But, DA, tell us about a little bit about when you went to the city council.
Well, when I went to the city council this year, every March is the budget season. And that's when we go, and every office, every agency, everybody that this city, that's funded by the city, goes and meets before the city council committees, and the mayor, signs off on the final budget. When I went this year, I did not ask for money from my office. I said the way for us to turn this around is to invest in communities like the Bronx that has been so much disinvestment. It's like they don't care about the Bronx. And I hate that. This is my life, my home, all my life. I care about each and every person, 1.4 million people of the Bronx. I care about them because they're my constituents. And I want you to get what it is that you deserve. So I say, you know what? Don't give the money to me. Put the money in the communities. Programs for youth, mental health, substance use disorder. Get people affordable housing. Those are the things that we need. And after I did that, people will call me, oh my God, I've never seen a DA do that. That's amazing. It's like, but that's the answer. The answer is to really deal with the root causes of crime and poverty and homeless, and all those things that I talked about is the root cause of why people are coming in. If you put investment in that, then I'll have less work to do. Because I tell you one thing, the DAs will never go out of business. Ms. Matthews, you're never going to go out of business because of the disinvestment in our communities. The safest communities don't have the most police, they have the most resources. And because we are not getting our fair share, I continue to have, cases day after day, shootings, everything you name it is happening because of the disinvestment. I want people to stand up and take care of the Bronx. So, yeah, thank you for that question.
Hi, hi, District Attorney Garcelle. We were on a panel just Friday together. I am committee chair for policy and legislation here, and my real life criminal appeals legally decided. So some of the question I have is, because we've been here so long, prosecutor, judge, now the actual district attorney, one of the things that comes before the community board often is approval for substance abuse program, mental health program, supportive housing, things of that nature, things that I've heard a lot of attorneys, prosecutors, and defense counsel and judges that there's not enough, right? There's always a long wait for a bed. And supportive housing gives them permanent stability. However, a lot of community members are actually against the increased placement of these type of facilities in neighborhoods. Because you were a long time, criminally, whether prosecutor or judge in the Bronx, in your times, 30 plus years, do you feel that there's been an increase in, crime is a big word, maybe violent crimes or increasing quality of life since the Bronx has received more of these drug treatment facilities, mental health facilities, supportive housing facilities, because sometimes they think there's a correlation. And I don't know if you've seen an increase in your cases with the rise of these facilities in the borough.
Well, the facilities are there. The question is, can we get people in there to get the treatment that they need? Whether it's in a building or supportive housing, you know, where you live in your apartment already and the case management people there and the medical help you need is right there. That's the same thing. People can't say, get rid of this stuff, but when you want to build it or you bring the resources there, but I don't want it in my neighborhood. Like, we can't have it both ways. We have to, these are our neighbors, okay? Whether you like them or not, whether you love them or not, they're there with all their bumps and bruises and problems. They're gonna be there. So we need to help each other to make sure that everybody gets what it is that they need. Now, I can't see I have seen a great increase, because there's still problems, because it's still not enough to serve all the people that really need it. But we also need people to want to get the help. And that's the other hurdle. Like, we can have all the beds in the world, but if you can't get people to go into the facilities to get the help, then why does it matter? My nephew was treated in Lincoln Hospital 2 years ago, probably today was late September, just like this. 28 years old with a severe mental breakdown. And I share this with, look, I'm just like everybody else. I'm telling you, I got people in my family been incarcerated. I got people in my family with mental health issues. I got people in my family that are addicted to drugs. My father was an alcoholic. I grew up in a house with addiction. So I don't have to learn about this stuff through my job. I live it every day. And 2 years ago, he broke down, and my brother was able to get him into Lincoln Hospital without the police getting involved, because we know what can happen sometimes when somebody's in a crisis and it's only the police that are being sought in order to take care of it. And thank God he went through a program there and he got out of there, and now he's in supportive housing, and 2 years later, he's still there. They're managing his cases. He's doing the group. He's being productive now. And I thank God for that. And I thank Lincoln Hospital, but he had to be ready to do that. So we can have the places there, but we got to get folks ready to really want to receive the treatment, and how we convince them and how we manage them. We need people that care enough. We need peer counselors, people that have been through that can talk to them. Like, I could say it all I want. They're like, that's the DA. She just trying to lock me up. But you get somebody else that's been through it, that can talk to them in real talk about what happened. I think we'll have a better chance. So we need to build not only the spaces, but the people that go along with it, that's going to help support it so that they'll want to go.
Thank you. Are there any board members?
Yeah, right here, Caesar. God,
We're opening to the board, and then we'll get to the public. You got it.
I'm Cesar Jock. I know some people that have been in substance abuse for, one of them was in substance abuse for over 10 years, and then constantly going to different programs in the city. So then one time he said that a lot of times if I stay in the same place, I get a lot of triggers, and then I go back to substance abuse. So then he said that one of his friends that was in a program outside of New York City, actually just one day he told me, he took him to a program outside New York City. And now he has been drug-free for over 27 years. So my question is, what kind of collaboration do you have with other programs outside of New York City?
We have collaboration through the courts. There are those collaborative measures. We can build anything. We can come up with anything if it's going to help the people involved in the case, but we just have to have the will to do it. I mean, some of the facilities will not be in the Bronx. They'll be outside the Bronx, whether in New York City or other places. The thing is, it's difficult for people to get to those places or to be able to get in, or they have to serve those communities and where those facilities actually are. And then there's a question of insurance, or how is it going to be paid for? That's the game that's being played with this. But I'm open to collaboration with anybody that's willing to help in this. We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. There's a lot of grants that we can apply for, or facilities can apply for in order to take certain kind of individuals into their facilities to get the help that they need. Anything can be done if we put our mind to it. So I'm glad that that was able to be helpful to your friend, and if that's somebody else that needs that and they come up with that, we'll figure it out. The defense, the court, that's what we do. That's the collaboration that we do. We try to solve the problem and make sure that we get the best result for all the people involved.
Good evening. I'm a community board member here at CB1. My name is Emmanuel.
Hello.
I am also an activist in the neighborhood. And my question to you, Ms. Clark, is what kind of support have you been offering tenants in this post-pandemic period? We know that there are many landlords here in the Bronx in particular that commit tenant harassment. We see landlords take advantage of tenants with their homes, whether it be with their rents or just in making sure that they are not exercising their rights in the ways that they should be. And so I'm just curious to know what kind of support have you been offering, or what kind of support has your office been offering to tenants?
Well, when we're alerted to those things, one, we have to see whether or not it's a crime involved. Because remember, my office is about the investigation and prosecution of crimes. But when I see something is going on, even though it may not be an actual crime, I look for whatever resource or whatever agency can help those tenants get through what it is that they have. I have a financial frauds unit. I have a community engagement unit. Tumana is here from community engagement. My office works with communities and tenants, and I know so many of the tenant leaders as well in Nigeria and other places, that when they come to us with some of those problems, we work to collaborate to help them identify places that will be able to help them resolve some of those matters. But, my office is on, I have 400 and something lawyers, but you can't imagine how much crime that I also have to deal with. But that's a quality of life thing, and that's a thing that we need to pay more attention on how we can help tenants. I usually get those from co-ops and tenants where they're saying that the landlord is stealing the money, or, they're not providing the services. It may not come out to prosecution, but it may be something that I can refer to another city agency. So that's what I do. But community engagement is the one that gets involved in those things and meet with tenants and different groups that are having certain problems, so that we can do, what it is to refer them to, agencies that'll help them through some of those issues.
Thank you. So I also, for the sake of time, I want to, any of our board members, if you do have any questions, we'll take them via email and we can send them all to the DA's office. But I do want to give an opportunity for one of our public members who has their hand up. You can stand up. Can we get a microphone, Martha? 1 second, ma'am. We're going to give you the microphone. Do you have a question?
No, I didn't have a question. I just want to say something. How come everybody always talking about what people should do? Why don't y'all raise your kids properly? Because a lot of these problems, I hear you talk about, get these new programs, give money for this. It's always give money for this, give money for that. But then you sit around here and your kids are tearing up stuff. If it was me, I wouldn't get nothing and fix up what y'all tear up. I mean, you have these new buildings, you have these new things, and they tear it up. And then they always somehow, can I get some money? I mean, what you taking the money for? Because all you doing is tearing the place up. So take care of your kids. They are disrespectful.
Thank you so much. So I do want, this is going to be the last question we'll take from Dana over here. And then any other questions, please send them into the community board and we'll make sure that we get that answered. But for the sake of time, we do have to move the agenda along.
Yeah, thank you, Chairwoman.
Attorney Clark, it's a pleasure to see you as always.
Hello, Miss Dana, how are you?
Okay, so I have a question. I've been talking to Carlos Torres in your office
Yes.
this year,
Uh-huh.
and we've been talking about mentoring programs, using them in community centers that are part of Bronx work, Cornerstone. They are not willing to let us into them. Can you assist us in having a dialogue with them?
What do you mean? What do you mean, the Cornerstone, the Cornerstone and the Beacon locations that they're not letting your?
They're not letting us come in. Well, I approached them last year with a program proposal. Carlos? Okay.
There we go, there we go.
Close to my mouth. Carlos Torres and I have been talking about a few programs. Well, we devised one program that's basically about mentoring,
Right.
especially with young men.
Yes.
And so we approached a couple of we approached St. Mary's Community Center first.
Right, of course.
And we've been talking to a few others. And they don't want us to have a program like that in here. They're good with their after school and they don't want to be bothered with it. We need to have a dialogue with them to let them know that those community centers are not just for after school programs. They're to help these older children that are out in the street that are not being parented, okay, and that don't have any rules, to teach them something and bring an older man or an older woman into their lives so they can mentor them. And Carl, you got a great guy, Carlos. And he's been patient, but I want to make it happen.
No, I will level that up because that, those programs now are run, the DA's offices, we used to run them like that Saturday Night Lights and those different programs like that. First, there was none in the Bronx, right? Manhattan had everything, like as usual. Manhattan gets everything, and then Brooklyn gets everything. I'm like, what about the Bronx? What about the Bronx? So I finally, raised enough hell to make sure we started getting them. So now we have Juju. How many we have? About 100. How many of the over 100 programs now? There's absolutely no reason why we can't brainstorm to figure out what programs need to go there. Now, the Division for Youth and Family Services is the one, DYCD is the one that, what is it, Division for Youth and Community Development. Keith Howard is the commissioner. He's the one that's in charge of making sure what the programming is in those places. They wanted sports. At first, everything was basketball. Everybody play basketball. Nor should they. Everybody ain't going to the NBA. We know that, right? But we need to have other things like that, mentoring programs, things for the parents so they can learn how to do more with their children. Because I feel for the parents. But some of these parents, you know what? It may not be that they're not raising their kids right. The kids are not listening. They need help in figuring out how to do the parenting as well. So those are the programs we have. So I'll talk to you offline to find out what your ideas are. That's why I come to these things. I want solutions. You tell me what it is you want, and I'm gonna find a way to make it happen the best I can. Best I can.
So we thank you so much. We gotta move the agenda along. I want to thank DA Clark for coming out. We will continue the conversation. We will continue to take in questions from the community and make sure that we connect and get those answered. So please feel free to send those over to us, and we're gonna move the agenda along. So thank you so much, DA Clark. We appreciate your time and thank you for coming in. And we're battling a little bit between the basketballs next door and us, but we advocate for youth programs. Youth programs is what we got. So we're back there, we got youth programs, which is great. Yes, thank you to the wild. So we're gonna move along and call to order. We have a presentation by 438 Concord Avenue rezoning. We're gonna give you 15 minutes for this presentation.
Thank you, Chair. Okay, we got 15 minutes. Good evening, my name is Richard Lobel. I'm from the law firm of Sheldon Lobel. With me is Amanda Ionati, who will be running the presentation. And Alejandro is our applicant tonight for the 438 Concord Avenue rezoning. The building that you see in the center of the illustrative plan here is a proposed building that would be here if we proceeded with this rezoning. It's an attractive building. It would have the first 3 stories devoted to commercial uses, such as a new food store, a fresh food store, community facility space in the form of a health center that would span 2 floors. And importantly, on those first 3 floors, there would be something called studios or My Hub Studios. Alejandro has successfully built buildings in Bushwick in Brooklyn, where he has studio space, which is basically office space, which can be subdivided into smaller offices, as well as studio space to allow for creative arts, such as dance, theater, and music. And so the idea is that these lower 3 floors would be populated by these studios, and the idea is that you could subdivide this space into as little as 500 square feet, 1,000 square feet, and some of the studios would be rented for $30 or $40 an hour. This would enable creative people, youth, young people in the community to come in. There are state-of-the-art sound studios in there, so if they want to record, if they want to do videos, music, etc., they have access to that space at a low cost, and that's 10% of the studio space is devoted to that. So the building itself kind of becomes a community center. It gives the opportunity for people to live and work. In the floors above that, the 7 floors above that, there would be residential dwelling units. They would number roughly 86 units. 25% of those, slightly more than 25%, about 26 of those units would be devoted to affordable housing that would be permanently affordable under the city zoning. Next slide, please. So what are the actions we're seeking today for the community board to approve? The first would be a rezoning from an existing M12 to an M14 R7D. What does that mean? The M12 zoning district that's been there has been there since 1961, or the M1 zoning district. It's been there for 60 years. What it has produced is what you see right now on East 145th between Concord and Wales. You see open parking and auto repair. And so, you know, one of the things about the existing district is you can build a building like we showed you just now. You can build a building, in this case, instead of a 138,000 square foot building as proposed, you could build a 125,000 square foot building in the M12. The problem is it doesn't address the community's needs. That building is a manufacturing building. It is a building with a lot of office space, but not new office space. It's kind of like, you know, you could build a functional building, it would be that size. This building would be a new building, which would offer both the opportunity to live and work in the space. So the rezoning would allow for that residential use on the floors above, as well as the commercial uses on the floors below. We would also have a zoning text amendment. It's a technical matter to allow a mixed-use district here. And finally, there would be an MIH text amendment, which would require that 25% minimum of the units be permanently devoted to affordable housing. So it really offers like a lot to the community in terms of both commercial manufacturing space, which we'll show you as well, and then these residential uses above. Next slide. Okay, so these are the numbers behind the building. What do we see? A 10-story building. Again, similar to some of the other building stock in the area. 141,000 square feet. That's inclusive of 2 houses on the side, so the building itself is 138,000 square feet. What does this building include? Like we talked about, 3,300 square feet in the cellar and first floor as a potential supermarket with a passageway. 25,500 square feet for these potential recording studio and professional offices. And the idea behind My Hub Studios, because Alejandro has experience in this and has done this before, is that you get local wellness. You get people who come in, maybe it's a local nutritionist who wants a small space and can't afford a larger office. You get someone who wants to practice yoga or some kind of healing art and they want to just have a smaller space. Even professionals who want to use that space would be able to rent these smaller spaces and would be able to live and work in this community. Importantly, there's also 7,600 square feet of light manufacturing space. Alejandro is very devoted to the opportunity for makers to be here and to be able to use this space. Potential tenants, pottery, glass, furniture workshops, artists, 3D printing, wholesale, brewery. It's like the idea is to allow local manufacturers to be here as well, again, focusing on job creation and local business generation. The residential would be on the floors above. There would be, the building itself would be 10 stories with 43 parking spaces in the cellar and 52 bike parking spaces. There are also 2 loading berths for the manufacturing. The number of units are 87 units. a mix of studios, 1s, 2s, 3s, and 4 bedrooms. More than 2/3 of these units, as you can see, are 2, 3, or 4 bedrooms. This is not a building where you're focusing on small units. We want there to be space for growing families, for people with kids. And the good thing about the MIH program, the Inclusionary Housing Program, is 24 of these units are affordable units, and they're in the same proportion as the units in the building generally. What does that mean? It means that if you have 2/3 of the units at 2 bedrooms or above, then 2/3 of those affordable units will be the same. So the idea with MIH, it's an excellent program, is that the affordable units don't just become studios and ones that are jammed down on the lower floors. They are the same sizes as these other units, as well as located throughout the building. So it's like an opportunity to get a real community in the building without really reference to who you are, how much money you make, where you're from. It's a nice kind of building, and it's a great program. Sustainability, in my remaining time left, I'm not going to go into that too much, other than the fact that it's a high efficiency building with limited energy consumption and carbon footprint. Solar panels, vegetation, planted trees. Their intent is intended to be on the roof. So urban farming, which would allow for a local urban farming business to come in. And we've already talked to some who do farming on the roof and then devote 10% of their produce to local residents. It's really quite an impressive program. The next slide, please. So again, this is the nature of the building. You can see the building in the surrounding building stock. It doesn't stick out really in terms of the total height. Like I said, that existing M12 would permit a building of this height, honestly slightly taller because the M12 doesn't have a height cap. So you could build this type of building. The other thing to note, as Amanda, you can kind of go through some of the pictures and such, is that the building itself, we think it's an interesting design. You notice the balconies of the building. 80% of these units have balconies, have outdoor space. So 80% of all the units in the building, inclusive of the affordable units, have balcony space. It's like an opportunity for people who otherwise wouldn't be able to live in new construction, to be able to move into that construction, to be able to have balconies. And Alejandro, to his credit, when we talked about this, because he's been very thoughtful about the design, there's also washers and dryers in every unit. So it's a massive benefit to, and again, not merely for market rate units, but for the affordable units as well. It just allows everyone to have this kind of, rise up and to, allow for a certain quality of life that is deserved, really. We show you again, as far as illustrative plans are concerned, pictures of the ground floor. Again, the commercial is flexible. We've talked about a fresh food store. We talked to the land use committee when we met with them on September 3rd about a fresh food store. We can also have a coffee shop. There are pass-throughs in the building. The building focuses on the use of open space, both on the ground floor as well as the terraces and the roof, which has open space, which can be fully utilized by tenants. The next several slides are for zoning and land use. So again, the circled area is the area of the proposed rezoning. It's currently an M12. To note, with regards to the M12, there's already blocks and blocks of R71 to the north. So right north of this building on East 145th Street is an R71 district, which would already allow residential. South of that is M12, but immediately to the west is a property that was rezoned in 2021 that is also R7D. So you're not sticking a mixed-use R7D district in the middle of an area which is not recognized. It has that use. It has the use already around it. Thank you, Sharon.
Can you briefly just say what M12
M12
and R71 are? So that
Sure. Let's talk about it for a second. The chair's asking to talk about what M12 and R7D is. M12, on a 25,000 square foot lot, an M12 would permit a 125,000 square foot building. So the M12 here, that M12, you see all this purple area? That really, the M12 allows for commercial and manufacturing uses, and that's it, no residential. That's the existing M12. The M14 R7D would allow residential use on the site. And so in order to do mixed-use building like we talked about here, you would need to do an M14 paired with an R7D. That would give you the opportunity to have this mix of uses. So, and as you can see on this block, you already have some yellow and orange, those are residential uses. So it's not like you're inserting an M1, R70 in this area, you're inserting it here, there's already residential above, there's residential zoning across the street. So that's really, Chair, the distinction between the uses. Okay. I think what we would, again, I think my time is nearing a close. If we just page through the last several slides. Photos of the site in case you're familiar with or not familiar, East 145th between Concord and Wales. So this is the general layout of the site. Again, right now the site is occupied by a parking lot and auto repair.
Plans.
And just the plans?
Yeah.
Okay, so, and again, these are illustrative plans, but you can kind of see what the layout of the building would look like. A mixed-use building, there'd be new shops, a public passage through the building. I think our architect is here, Martin. I think he's developed a very attractive building, which would take advantage of the space as well as the width of the street. I think with that, we have the entire applicant team happy to answer any questions. I know that Alejandro and Martin are available. Kevin Williams, our environmental consultant. Sandy Hornick, who's a land use consultant, who can talk about fresh food if that is an option. But Chair, thank you so much.
Thank you, thank you. And I want to pass, you guys presented to our land use committee, and so I want to pass the mic over to our land use chair, Paola Martinez, for any comments.
Well, thank you so much. As our Madam Chair indicated, we did have a presentation on the project, and at the time of the presentation, there were some questions and concerns that the committee members expressed, and we did put together a list of questions that were submitted, so thank you for answering those and providing more clarity. I think that the focus today with regards to the project presentation would be to get more clarity on a few items that our committee members raised with regards to clarity on the lack of public funding, right? So you are, and correct me if I am wrong. So the fact that you're using private equity funds to finance 100% of the project raises some concerns, given that we strongly encourage public-private partnerships. And as you know, as developing in New York City requires also to partner with the city of New York, and that gives more credibility to those projects. And also, to a certain extent, having that oversight can guarantee that the commitment to having affordable units can be accomplished ultimately. So I think that's also part of the concern that the community expressed, including the concern about contextual construction, right? So we're talking about a very big building in an area that is, there's a lot of homeowners there, single unit, single family homes, and it'll be a tremendous impact. On the other hand, understanding the benefit of bringing more units that are 2, 3, and 4 bedrooms to the community. We also learned from you about your inclination towards having space for grocery stores, including music labs, and we also know that that is something that can be beneficial for the young people in the community. But the main concern is to understanding the credibility and the reputation of the firm, understanding what projects you have worked on in the past that can, so that we can point, oh, you developed these buildings in Brooklyn or in other areas in the city and you were successful. And if the community members even wanted to go and check those out, they could, because there's so many promises that are made to this community that once people get what they want, become empty promises. Like, what can guarantee that if we do vote yes on this Euler process to increase density? And I wanted to explain briefly, I am by no means an expert on this topic, but the Euler process that they are requesting would give you a 20%, correct me, what is the percentage that you would be able to build extra for the community?
Oh, it's 25% of the building would have to be affordable.
25% of the building, but if the ULURP is approved,
Yeah.
What is the percentage increase?
Oh, The existing M12 would allow for 125,000 square feet. The proposed R7D would allow for 138,000.
138,000. So can you just give me the difference between those two numbers? Because I'm
Sure. Yeah, just 13,000 square feet additional.
13,000 square feet addition. That's what we're talking about. 13,000 square feet addition. I am not expert on numbers either, so if you give me a site, it's not the Yankee Stadium, what can you make equivalent to that?
I think it's like a Best Buy.
Like a Best Buy, a Best Buy, you get that? Yeah. I just want to get the community to kind of understand the visuals. Yeah, so that's what we're talking about. And from what I read in one of your answers, you're saying that if you don't get the ELR approved, you won't be able to do residential building.
Correct.
So this is what is at stake now. On the one hand, we have a proposal to build more units, 2, 3, 4 bedrooms. We have a development firm that has to give us more information, credible information, so the community can understand your reputation, your credibility. We know I'm pretty sure that the folks here are used to hearing names. I think this is the first time that I come across your name as a development firm, which it's good, but it's also bad. So that's the kind of conversation that we've had internally, and just the reassurance that, we in the South Bronx have taken the burden of the production of units in the city. No other community has assumed the responsibility like we have. And at the same time, we continue to struggle to see families displaced from the community that they've known for many, many, many years. So that's the reality that we have. I want to give the opportunity to other board members to ask their questions and to the community to ask questions. So, Madam, you can lead that part.
I also want board members to keep in mind, we have a packet. There were some questions that the committee had already sent in, and there were questions that were answered. So make sure that you've reviewed those questions so we're not doubling up. I want to open it. Leslie, yes.
Hi, Leslie. I'm a new member on the board. And I just wanted to just give the community more of a visual of what this building could be. So I already kind of rent an art studio to a similar building here in the Bronx, in the Hunts Point area. And although it is beneficiary for the neighborhood, for the Bronx, I also have had the experience of having an art studio in an area where it was controlled privately, and my rent went up 50% every 6 months. So I have both of those experiences, and now I'm tied to a nonprofit. So when creating commercial spaces for makers, how will we preserve these for just Bronx artists? Because I've also seen the other side of it, where Bushwick people are coming in and taking advantage of the prices here, and they're not necessarily your friends.
Sure. Yep. So thank you for the question. So the studio space here, like we talked about, one of the great things about it is, first of all, the opportunity for you to rent smaller office space, but also the opportunity for artists, creative people, musicians to go in and to rent out on an hourly basis for $30 or $40. The chair of land use, Ms. Martinez, discussed the fact that that the developer is not immediately known, and so how should we trust them? And it's great to ask that question because, if you go on and look at myhubstudios.com, that is Alejandro's work. It is so in Bushwick, he's got a building. It has 109 studios, and so I'd like to actually have him address that, because the price there that we were going to rent this at is established there and has been maintained for what is amounts to years now. So.
Thank you very much for giving us the opportunity to present. I will try to answer all the questions. I think all these, I will address first your question. In our case, we sign a membership agreement with every member, and it's stated in that contract that the membership agreement can only increase after a year 3%, which is what we believe is the inflation rate or the target inflation rate for the Fed. So we don't do that type of thing. If you're a long-term membership and you're welcome to talk to our members, that's the situation. Sometimes when we talk to the members and we know them, we like to develop long-term relationships, and we like them because of the impact that they make on the community. Sometimes we don't even increase the 3%, and that's something that can be easily verified. We have two buildings, in Bushwick. We continue to grow. We continue to improve the business model. We are adding events, so someone who produces music can later on do a small event in a. Sorry, so we can talk more about those things later on. We have investments in real estate in this borough, so we are long-term investors in this area. We are not the typical real estate developer. We are more in the business of building communities or enhancing communities, strengthening communities. The reason why we didn't mention that we want public funds is because we come from culturally from the idea that these projects should be sustainable for the private sector, in this sense that we should be able to invest $70 million, which is a lot of money, because we believe that this can be done. Of course, we know many people who go to the government to try to get a subsidy and things like that, and we are open. If that is going to give more comfort, we are open. But we put that as a sign of good faith that we trust the project. We trust what we are saying.
Thank you. I do want to say, oftentimes right now we're dealing with tremendous real estate in Mott Haven and Fort Morris. We see that, but we also see tremendous occupied apartments, right? And so what's happened is working families aren't able to afford it. We do need some housing for homeless families, and we understand that. But at what point do we make sure that the rent is at a livable rate? Because for working families, because what we're seeing is that these rents that realtors are coming in and putting into our communities are just not affordable. And so we won't approve the ULURP unless we know that you guys are going to commit to making sure that this rent is affordable to the community and what we deem as affordable. So I'm going to pass it over to Ramona.
So I want to talk a little bit about the proposed area median income that is being used to calculate just how affordable the units are going to be. So you guys are coming in with some units at 40% AMI, right? And like Paola modeled, the AMI at that rate means that you have to make $43,480 a year. For the 60% AMI, you would be having to apply with earnings of $65,000 a year. So my question is more to Alejandro. This community, it continues to be the poorest congressional district in America. So 40% of the people that live in this community are earning $15,000 or less a year, including me, and I'm an artist, right? So at 60% and 40% AMI, you will not be affordable to the artists in the community. So for the ULURP to really be considered valuable in the way that like Paola and Clarissa shared with us, I think it's important to know why Mott Haven, and why Mott Haven at a rental minimum that eliminates 40% of us from the property.
So I am aware that this neighborhood is one of the poorest in New York and in the country. And that's why our approach is a bit different from other buildings that are proposing to be 100% affordable at 30% MIA. But this approach is different. We are trying something different, and you have to buy into this view. We are bringing probably 300 new jobs. I attended past meetings here, and I saw people really demanding fresh food, fresh products. They said, okay, great, we have an affordable building, but we still have a food desert. So we try to address, and we are trying to not only to provide affordable housing, but to bring growth to this community, because this community is different from the others. It's not, if I would be offering this building in Manhattan, I would buy into your proposition. But here we have to do something extra, because it's not enough to do a mitigated project, say, okay, I'm going to offer affordable housing and that's it, because the problem is much deeper than that. I can offer affordable housing, but still, we would still be in a very low income bracket and quality of life in general. So we are trying to set an example for this neighborhood. Hopefully, this building can become a flagship product that other developers see, okay, this works here. Okay, we can build something. We are protecting some of these jobs that are part of the industrial use. So why are we protecting these jobs? Because we know that if you have a woodworker producing products and they can sell it on the retail store on the front side, he can do this. He can have his worker producing the chair and sell it in the retail store. So because we know that these jobs are paid more than someone working in a retail store. Do you know that in this area, it's full of schools, Wherever you look, across the street, we have a school. We want to have across the school a body shop, or we want to have a project like this. Or we want to have an empty lot like we currently have. So these are the decisions that we have to make.
I wanna thank you. I wanna open the floor.
So would you consider
Carmen and then Tamora.
Yes, thank you. I'm over here.
One second. Ramona, what'd you say?
would they consider any units at a 20% or 30% AMI?
Would you consider any units at a 20% or 30% AMI?
And you don't have to, I am putting you on the spot.
No, I'm not sure. I am a very serious person. I don't take your question lightly. Your question probably needs for me to go back to the Excel and run the numbers, because we have to make something that brings a lot of benefits but can be doable. I say, look, we can stretch it and see if we can. I am not trying to get an extra back from this. If we can do it, but the idea here is to do. And I understand your question. It's a very fair question. We all want this, but when we envision this building, we try to address some of your other concerns, and we have to do some adjustments. When we run the numbers at 60%, it's because we basically also are proposing to have a community facility, because we know that some of the problems in this community are also related to health issues or other issues that you might think. The community facility can be, we can have a discussion and we can say, okay, we need health-related issues. We talk already to Montefiore, to ESSER, other companies that are interested to have. We also know that they want a bank branch.
The question is, would you consider 20 to 30%?
Yes, the numbers.
We'll have to run the numbers and I will let you know. Sorry.
I want to move on.
Thank you. Carmen Santiago, longtime activist over here. So you're the architect?
No, I'm the attorney. There's the architect.
You're the architect, you're the developer? Are you the owner too?
I am the
You're the owner?
one of the owners, yes.
And what is your name? Bronx LLC? Right, his given name, but the company, Bronx LLC?
Bronxco LLC.
Okay, I just wanted to be focused on the residential. If you can just stay basic, and what is the number for the studio? according to people's salary. Affordable housing, the term has been overused and overused. It should be low-income housing. That term needs to be adopted. So what is the rent that we're looking at salary-wise? What is the studio rent, minimum, maximum?
Right.
Second bedroom, third bedroom, and fourth bedroom?
Okay, good.
What salaries
Let's go to
are
salaries
you
first.
going by? And then what rent is attached
Okay.
to those salaries?
Got it.
Minimum and maximum.
Salaries, average 60% AMI. In this building, you have everything from 1 to 4 bedrooms. Salaries on average is 65,000 for a studio, 93,000 for a 4 bedroom. For 4 bedrooms, yeah. So hold one second. That's an average. 10% of the units are guaranteed at 40%, which is 43,000 to 62,000. That's guaranteed. And that's for a family. So if you have a 3-bedroom and the mother and father together make 62,000, that's the income. Can you go to rents? The rents, again, studios through 3 bedrooms, 1,600 for a studio on average, 1,700 for 1 bedroom, 2,000 for 2 bedrooms, 2,400 for 3 bedrooms. 10% are guaranteed at 40% AMI, which means that for 10% of the units in the building, 1,000 for a studio, 1,100 for a 1 bedroom, 1,300 for a 2 bedroom, and 1,600 for a 3 bedroom.
10% is what?
10% of 86 units, so about 9 units. With the total affordability, there's 28 units affordable, so that's roughly 12 units.
Thank you.
Am I able to ask my question?
It's from HPD.
Hi, am I able to ask my question now? Okay, hi, my name is Maura. I've been a board member for quite a while here in CD1. The question I have for you, I have actually three in one. You said the purple areas are industrial areas, am I correct in that?
Correct.
Okay, then you also mentioned that you are going to dominate the area. What is on that property at this time? Are you purchasing it? Are there homes there?
So the only development that would take place is on 2 lots, those 2 lots on 140.
And they're empty?
And one is empty, it's parking, and the other one is auto repair.
Okay, now the other issue that I have is the fact of the matter that we are not supporting our businesses in this area. So I find it really impressive and a little shocking because all these buildings are coming in and pushing out the very people who help sustain our area. The third question I have, and this is for the committee itself, I wanted to know what the committee's recommendation is. Hello? I wanted to know what the committee's recommendation is on this particular item.
So I think,
Thank you.
So these proposals had to come to the full board meeting because the recommendation of the committee was a no vote. So, but at the time, there was a lack of clarity on certain information that they provided. And we are scheduled to have a vote tonight on the proposal. Lenore, you wanted to say something?
I do want to say something. I don't want to
can we
order.
get her the microphone?
No, I don't want to order.
Let's go.
Sorry, I didn't want to skip you too, I'm sorry. I just have a quick question. Are we voting on 2 things? Can you just clarify if we're voting on 2 things? And then I can just ask my second question, so we should.
Sure. It's one application, and we're voting on 2 things. One is the change in zoning, and the other one is to make sure that there's an MIH overlay so that those units stay affordable.
So if we do not change the zoning, did you answer that you can't build
Correct.
residential?
Correct.
Okay, so, and then if we don't, and the MIH is for what?
It's only for residential. It's for affordable residential units. So it's together. Like if the zoning doesn't change, the MIH vote, there's no vote.
If the MIH, if she wants to know, what would you build?
Yeah, it's a manufacturing building with a lot of parking, basically.
If you put not
Yeah.
affordable housing, you would not build. Is that what you?
Yeah, it would, the M12 that's been there has been there for 60 years, or at least the M1. It would be exactly what it is. It would be some parking lot and a one-story,
Okay, because I thought it was making the space bigger, not making it residential.
no.
Okay, so we want us to make it bigger and
Oh,
residential.
to be clear, you have square footage, the M12 would allow you to build 125,000 square feet. You probably have to go down 2 levels for all the parking, and you could do a commercial manufacturing building. The R7D, instead of 125,000, would allow you to do an additional 13,000 square feet, so 138,000. Not a tremendous amount, maybe another 10%, but that building allows for residential.
Okay.
And just to comment on what the chair said, or what Ms. Martinez said, with regards to Ms. Martinez? Ms. Martinez, just to answer one question, because there was a question about not taking city money for this. And we did a rezoning in the Bronx on East 241st and White Plains Road, Bronx Community Board 11. And that building was an M1 building, like this building. That building was rezoned to R7D C24, much like this building, R7D, same equivalent. And they decided they were going to do a 100% affordable building. They were going to have commercial on the ground floor, like this building, and we're going to do 100% affordable above. They waited for HPD. We did the rezoning 6 years ago. They waited for HPD to finance that building for 5 years. Eventually, because HPD could not basically bring themselves to provide funding for a 100% affordable building with over 200 units, they had to sell the property. And so I think one of the things about taking New York City money and taking public money is that anyone who works with HPD now will probably attest to the fact that the waiting list and the bureaucracy right now is such that it's basically impossible to get that. And so, yeah, okay, thank you.
Sorry, and we do not have enough time to continue because apparently YMCA is saying that we're gonna have to get out of here by 8:15. So, we are going to go into this vote. So can we call this vote? Stephen?
This vote is only for board members, so please, board members, listen to how you can vote. It is yes, no, yes with conditions, no with conditions. Again, yes, no, yes with conditions, no with conditions.
Clarissa, how do you vote?
Motion on the floor.
The Lorne motions.
I want to apologize about the noise behind us. I know it makes it feel, but we're trying to do the best we can.
Sorry. I can do a lot. Oh, so, hold on, we'll do it. I, Dorney, make a motion to vote on, hold on, what do people call it? 438 Concord Avenue, their ULURP application. Okay, who seconds that motion? Okay. Any discussion on the motion? Just we have it.
Yes.
So I would like to introduce the condition for adding units at the 20 to.
No, this is a discussion. She wants
Yeah.
to discuss.
She's talking about her vote. Only discussing the motion was made.
Okay, so we frame it like this. Okay, on the discussion, we would like to discuss, because we have a new member who doesn't understand conditions, it's his first vote. Okay, so an example of a condition can't be, these are just examples, we are not telling you how to vote. Is
Addition or inclusion of units at 20 or 30% AMI, which would make it more affordable for Community Board 1 district.
that is just an example of a condition, but you can put any additional conditions you would like when you vote, okay? Thank you. Any other discussion on the motion? Hearing no other discussion?
Motion passes.
No, roll call.
The motion, now we're gonna,
Clarissa, how do you vote?
I vote no with the condition with the I vote no, because one, that's what the committee recommended, but also no with the condition that you do come back to us and you do add 20 to 30% AMI in your plan.
Ambrose, how do you vote?
I'm lost, and let me tell you this. You know, no. I'm gonna say it really 1 second. I'm tell you. What made me lost is because one, my question was the AMI. The problem we are facing in this neighborhood, they're coming in, they put this building, they go and take the number somewhere else to calculate the AMI, and then we can afford it. I want to know if you guys can have the MI from the community board one. Is it possible? Because that would. Huh? No, because if you come, the fabric of this community, the people that are here are losing their spot, and people else are coming in. Now, another thing that was just mentioned, that you're gonna have development.
I need you to vote yes, no.
I abstain.
There you go.
Yeah.
There we go.
Zion Baldwin, how do you vote? Robert Barnes, how do you vote? Maura Cosme, how do you vote? Christina Culver, how do you vote? Audrey De Jesus. Jacqueline De Jesus.
Dog life, bro. I can't afford that.
Naicha. Did I say your name right? Just want to make sure. Linda Duke.
I just want to ask one question.
No.
I'm gonna vote no. I'm gonna vote no.
With the condition, no with the condition.
My whole thing is, why is the zip code 145?
Oh, that's a typo. That might have been a typo.
I hope
It's
so.
145.
I hope so.
So your vote is no, correct?
With the condition.
With a condition. Josephine, how do you vote?
Yes, with conditions. Oh.
That they look into the 20 to 30% AMI.
Ramona, how do you vote?
I vote yes with the condition that they include at least 4 units at less than 30% AMI. So yes, with the condition that they include at least 4 units at 30% or lower AMI.
Brenda Goodwin, how do you vote?
At 3, 0 or lower. Not here. Yo, we're like a big.
Christine, how do you vote? Yes, Christine.
I vote no with the same assurance of 20 to 30% AMI, and an additional one, because we never got an answer for this, that there will be also some sort of clause that allows a percentage of these studios for local Bronx entrepreneurs, artists, and manufacturers.
Sanji Lopez, how do you vote?
No, also with the condition that the group runs those numbers again on the Excel sheet to make it 20 to 30% AMI, and the same condition that Christine added of ensuring that these studios are for local artists.
Leslie, how do you vote?
The AMI to 30 or lower percentage, and then also making the units to only exclusively to Bronx artists, and making them affordable with no rent increases. Thank you.
Paola Martinez, how do you vote?
No, with the conditions also that, an AMI 30% or below is included for no less than 5 units, and that the developer works with an organization in the field of domestic violence to provide those particular households to families who are in a situation of being victims of domestic violence. And similar to the concern that our colleague here has expressed for the Bronx artists, I also support that condition and reworking the numbers for the community space to have more clarity on that, and also more clarity on the space for groceries. And you can come back and we can continue the discussion.
The Learning, how do you vote?
I vote yes.
I vote yes. I vote yes with, on the condition, 4 units, less than 30% AMI, and additional condition is that a certain percentage of the studio art space be dedicated to local local Bronx residents.
Art Jelly, how do you vote?
That's me. I vote no, okay, with that condition that the 20 to 30% MAI. In other words, I need to see that it's more affordable.
Emmanuel Padilla, how do you vote?
I vote no, under the condition that the AMI is below 30%, and there are more units dedicated to folks under that 30% bracket.
Marion Pena, how do you vote?
No, with the same conditions as everybody.
Go ahead. Rosa, how do you vote? Joyce, how do you vote? Okay, Claudia, how do you vote?
I know with all the conditions that have been mentioned, but also to include preference for community board, for community one persons that live here to have access to this building. So preference to tenants in the community.
Jose Rodriguez, how do you vote? Mohammed Sheikh, how do you vote?
How do you vote, Mohammed?
I like to go with condition.
Okay.
Yes,
Yes or no?
I voted yes with the condition. Thank you all.
Patricia Simpson, how do you vote? Caesar, how do you vote?
I vote no with a condition of 20, 30, 40, but all of them, I don't want them to be studios. You have to be a diversity of them as well.
Chair, we will now tally the votes.
That was fun.
Okay, 20 no, 5 yes, 3 abstentions. The vote does not pass, and we have a lot of conditions to meet. We hope to see you again with those conditions, and we can revisit, trying to work this out. Thank you, guys. Okay. I am gonna close the public hearing. We will move on the agenda. So now, we have a few voting items that came to our licensing committee, with Paola and, Paola, I'm gonna hand this over to you so you can talk about those recommendations and we'll vote on those as well.
Can we have order on the floor, please, so we can be able to go into the rest of the community board business? Order.
So thank you so much, and we do apologize again for the noise. And want to thank the Y for hosting us. This is indeed a beautiful community space. In our committee for housing and land use development, we had the opportunity to review some liquor license applications for several community businesses. And although this will be moving forward a separate committee, I believe, that, you know, eventually we will be able to separate these tasks. We have made recommendations on a few license applications, and I'll go through them one by one very quickly. El Chicano Sports, something to mention about this business is that it has been renamed a couple of times. The new owners came to our board presentation as it is required from all liquor license applicants to come in person to ask for the renewal. The committee has voted no, because it's very shady what's happening, and we are not very sure that, you know, there's a lot of stuff going on, so we just voted no. I believe you'll have time to talk later, but not now. So the next item, please. The new application from Boca Cafe. So the Boca Cafe is located on 475 Bruckner. I don't see, okay, and the recommendation from the board has been to approve the application. El Taquitos, the recommendation has been to disapprove this application. I want to mention that we have had input from the police precinct as well, and we've done our research based on the violations. Those that we are recommending is because we mainly have concerns about violations, misconduct in the community, and etc. So the next one needs, it was Blissful Creations. We voted to accept or approve this motion for this event hall application. And the next one, I believe that's it. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And so I just want to mention that we take the recommendations of our licensing committee very seriously, and what they recommend is what we go with, because they do the research on these businesses that ask for renewals. They connect with the precinct, they look at 311 reports, and they really do the research, and so we accept that. What I am going to ask for is a motion from the floor to accept the committee's recommendations to move along with what they voted.
I motion to accept the committee's recommendations.
Ramona makes a motion. Can I get a second?
Audrey De Jesus seconded.
Audrey De Jesus seconded. Any discussion on that motion? No discussion on that motion. All right, motion passes. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, thank you. Any nays? Okay. Motion passes. Thank you. All right, I am going to pass this now to the learning for bylaw revisions and.
Hey, you guys, my name is Juliana Morin. I'm committee chair for. I know, I'm gonna be fast. I am committee chair for bylaws, policy, and legislation. Everyone should have a copy of the bylaws. They are not at this point going to be voted on in its entirety. There are some things still need to be worked out. However, committee changes have been made. So all I am asking for right now is a motion on Article. When are you listening? Oh, on Article 6, Section 1, all it did was in education and youth and young adults are one committee now, and there's going to be a committee that is dedicated to licensing and permits. So we got rid of one committee and created an additional committee. Anybody who's right now licensing and permits exists in economic development. Those are very long meetings. As you can tell, ULER happens at those meetings in addition to everybody's license and permits. So we are going to create a different committee dedicated to that, and we'll do a lot of more proactive stuff. So if I can get a motion on that, and then I can move to my second agenda.
Maura, can we get a motion on the floor? Maura, she made, the motion. Can we get a second? Gloria Rockman, seconded. Any discussion on the motion? Any abstentions? Any nays? All in favor say aye. Motion passes. Thank you, Delaney.
Oh, sorry. Okay. I feel so startled. So another thing is City of Yes housing. Policy and legislation did have an initial vote on this, okay? Right now, I want you guys to know, Department of City Planning has already approved it. And so City of Yes housing opportunity is in front of City Council, and it has not yet included community board one's input. We are the only community board that has not articulated a position. My committee is dedicated to writing a letter in support, opposition, or modification of City of Yes housing opportunity. We understand that we are going to have an informal, like an informational for the entire community board, okay? Our appointed members. It is going to be Zoom friendly. But next month, at the end of the next meeting, we must vote on it so Ayala and Salamanca can know our position. We can oppose, but we cannot be silent, you guys, okay? So I really want to flag that in advance. Also, Sandy is going to send an email. I have an expert report. It's really made for East Harlem, but it applies to the Bronx. So therefore, I want everybody to come with some level of understanding from DCP in addition to an objective third party, okay? And so I really want to flag that because, again, I don't want you guys to think we have missed out on an opportunity to speak about housing in our areas, okay? Great.
Thank you, Delaney. Okay, next on the agenda, recommendations for board removal, so board member removals. Now, over this past year, we had board members whose attendance was poor. We are taking that very seriously. We've sent certified letters to make sure that board members are aware of their removal happening. Our committee met, our ethics committee and conflict resolution committee met yesterday, and we came up with the removal list. We all approved. I don't have that list. Do we have the names that I can call out?
Is that long?
Is it in the minutes?
Oh, yeah, from yesterday.
It is in the minutes. It should be.
No, it's not in the minutes yet.
All right. Can I get this list? Here we go. Okay, so the people that have been recommended for removal are Kevin Bobin, Carol Brody, Henry Gomez, Nellie McKay, Tracy Woodhull, Alejandro Escamilla,
Lisa Rec Campuzano.
Lisa Rec Campuzano. Okay, so those are the folks who were recommended to be removed. Can I get a motion to accept the committee's request? Yes, so as I mentioned prior, their attendance was very poor and goes against what our bylaws recommend the attendance be, whether at committee or at chair board or at board meetings. In addition, you know, just to reiterate, let me get the motion to accept the committee's recommendation. Marilyn Peña makes that motion. Can I get a second?
I'll second it.
Audrey De Jesus seconds. Any discussion on that motion? Nope. Any abstentions? Any nay? All in favor say aye.
Aye. Okay.
One abstention. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, thank you. So I said that. You have a name? No. We're taking attendance very seriously. Leaving early is considered an attendance issue. Not getting here on time. And of course, if you let us know ahead of time, there's ways to do that. You know, you can get an excuse, but please make sure your attendance, make sure that whatever committee you committed to, your attending that committee and also attending full board meetings. Thank you. All right. Delaney.
Sorry, I know we haven't approved the entire new bylaws, but the bylaws are very clear. If you miss 2 meetings, 2 committee meetings, that is in the bylaws, just in case you don't, unexcused 2, you get referred to ethics and conflict resolutions. We haven't voted on that part, but if you have any opposition to that, this is you want to talk before the next meeting because we're going to be voting on the entire bylaws. So right now, the rule is very like 50%, but in the bylaws it's 2. And then you get recommendation.
Is that you?
Yeah, you get referred to the committee before you get removed, okay? But there's a refer to.
Okay, sorry.
Okay, I do want to move forward with NYPD.
Yeah. Yeah. Woo! Welcome, welcome.
Sorry, NYPD, I know we said 7 minutes, but we're gonna keep this as brief as we can. Thank you.
He wants to leave anyway.
Hi, good evening. My name is Captain Joel Hidalgo. I got recently transferred here 2 weeks ago. I used to be assigned out of the 4-4 precinct High Bridge, and I got transferred here. Thank you for inviting me. Appreciate it. Now, I'm not gonna give you my bio next time I come. Just real quick about crime. We are up 3 crimes versus last year in the 28-day period. I want to explain something. September 1st, the classification of rape changed. So crimes that used to be criminal sexual act are now considered rape. So when you look at our crime stat numbers, the rape charge or crime is going to look a lot higher. So just when you see it. There is an issue that is affecting us and citywide. There's a moped grand larceny issue. They're stealing chains off of people. We had 6 incidents on the 3rd Avenue corridor. We had deployed additional officers. So now we have officers that are on foot and also on mobile between 156 and 148th Street on 3rd Avenue between St. Anne's and Claremont. So that's just a condition that's affecting us. I'll keep it short. I'll leave it at that. And I'll open it up to whatever questions I can answer.
Welcome, welcome.
Thank you.
Welcome. Thank you.
Thank you, Hidalgo. Okay. All right, next up. So we are gonna, oh, I thought PSA 7 is not here, right?
No.
All right, Travis, Chan, how you guys doing? Thank you for being here. All right, let's go into the elected officials report. Mayor, Eric Adams. Leo, sorry to put you in that.
So, we're gonna leave that elephant right there. Good evening to all the new members and returning members. My name is Leonardo Colo. I'm the Bronx Director for the Mayor's Office. And as you guys know, it's been an extremely long day, so I will be brief. Just want to share some great news. We made a recent announcement of our new incoming in January, Chancellor Melissa Ramos. Let's give a round of applause for her. Melissa is from the BX. Melissa is a woman of color. She has been through the education system as a teacher, as a principal and everything. And now she's going to be leading our education system. She is from the BX, so we are very, very, very excited about that. One other thing, the city of Yes recently, went over an important hurdle where the planning commission had voted yes on it. So now it will be going over to the city council where we expect a lot of negotiations to happen. But that is some news that now, the city of Yes is progressing and moving forward. So now we expect some negotiations coming from the city council. Hopefully, it's really about housing, making sure that we are able to get as much housing in the city as possible. And finally, does anybody need any money? Raise your hand if you need a little money. Yes, absolutely. I see you. I see you. Right now, Google Money in Your Pocket. Google Money in Your Pocket. That is a program that we have put together at the mayor's office, where we are giving as much information as possible about programs in the city that will help you put some more money in your pocket, right? So we can't control inflation, we can't control the prices in the grocery store, but we can help put more money in your pocket. So all the programs are all in one place. And then next year, we're gonna be moving forward with a system that if your information is in the city system, we're gonna scan every single program that we have in the city, and we will send you notification letting you know what you qualify for as well too. So we wanna make sure that people are getting everything that they deserve from city government. That's all I have tonight. If anybody has any questions or anything, I'll stick around for a little bit. But thank you again, and have a good night. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Leo. Leo's here, he's in the building. What happened? Anybody from the Borough President's office? All right, Alexis. I've only been there.
Hello, everyone. I'm happy to be here with you. I'm not going to take up too much time, I promise. So I apologize if I talk fast. Good evening. I hope that you're all doing well and staying safe. Welcome back to the board members and our new board members. I'm excited for your journey. The latest Borough President's newsletter and report has been sent to the board. If you haven't received it, please let me know. On Monday, September 23rd, the BP joined NYPD Deputy Chief Ramsey, DYCD, and other leaders on the steps of Borough Hall to announce fiscal year 2025 allocation of nearly $400,000 for new state-of-the-art surveillance cameras and a new mobile command van to support public safety efforts in the borough. Also, Borough President Gibson and the Bronx Tourism Council are going to host their kickoff for the 30th annual Tour de Bronx cycling event. That event is also the largest free cycling event in the tri-state area, if you didn't know. And that's Sunday, October 6th. And also, I just want to say thank you to Delorny because she did amazing participating on the panel. So thank you so much. Alexis Ruiz, Deputy Director of Community Boards.
Thank you, Alexis. Now, Alexis, I think we got like 6 spots. All right, is anybody here from Richard Torrance's office? Anybody here from AOC's office? Jose Serrano's office?
Hi, my name is Jose Ramon, and I'm from the office of Senator Jose Serrano. I just wanted to underline 3 events coming up. This Wednesday, October the 2nd, we will hold constituent hours at Patterson Older Adult Center, not too far from here at 308 East 145th Street. And then on October the 21st, at Melrose Older Adult Center, we will hold also constituent hours. If you have any concerns, any questions, legal assistance, issues with your unemployment, benefits, etc., feel free to reach out to us. And also would like to remind you that every Tuesday we hold constituent hours at the office of New York City Council Member Diana Ayala at 214 St. Anne's Avenue from 10:30 to 1:30 every Tuesday. If you have any questions, you can also reach out to our office, 212-828-5829, 212-828-5829. Anyway, on the table there, this newsletter with all the information.
Thank you so much. Next up, and before I continue to go on, if you have events, you can please leave them in the back and our constituents will get to them. So for our elected reports, please make sure that because we're short on time, any events that we want to talk about, just leave them on the desk and folks will get to it. But I'm going to move forward with the Luis Sepulveda's office. Chantel Jackson, Amanda Septimo, Brad Lander.
All right, good evening, good evening. My name is Mayhew. I'm the Bronx Borough Director in the Office of the New York City Controller. One update, we did release our employer violations dashboard. So basically it's a new tool that has data from the federal, state, enforcement agencies that identify employers who violated key labor laws across the 5 boroughs. It tracks their various violations such as workplace health and safety issues, wage theft, discrimination and harassment. Additionally, we have an employer wall of shame, and some companies that are included on the wall of shame is Chipotle, Uber, and Gucci. So if you're interested, it's on our website at controller.nyc.gov. Thank you.
Thank you. Chipotle, okay. Jamani Williams? Salamanca's office?
Hi, Marita.
Good evening, buenas noches. Me llamo Maritza. My name is Marissa Goddess Wiggins. I'm the community liaison for District 17, Councilmember Salamanca Junior's office. I don't have nothing to report. If you have any questions, I'll be by the after the meeting.
Diana Ayala's office? Oh, we do want to thank Salamanca's office for the tech donation of $60,000 to Community Board 1, so thank you.
Good evening. In the interest of time, everything that we do is on this track. Can't talk about it. And our hours change from 10 to 3, Monday through Friday. Lunch between 1 and 2. The information on the flyer in the back. May you all have a good evening.
Thanks, Gloria. Lunch between 1 and 2, that's on the councilwoman? All right, thank you. And Darcel Clark, who was here already. All right, that concludes our electeds. Committee chair reports, everybody received the committee chair reports. Maura, I see your hand up. Oh, can I get a motion to accept the committee report as it is? Mara makes a motion. Can I get a second? Josephine seconds it. Any discussion on the motion? Any nays? All in favor say aye. The motion passes. Thank you. Any old business? Any old business? Any new business? Community district needs.
Very brief, ladies and gentlemen, we are in a district needs assessment period, which means where the board will be for the next couple of days or weeks. We already started the process evaluating what our district needs related to traffic, roads, schools, parks, etc. There's a survey that the community coordinator. Well, first of all, I want to make a quick announcement. I want to recognize that our Stephen Palmer was promoted to community coordinator for community assistance. We welcome Stephen, who's been a part of our team, came in and really stretched. And I'm just going to say that please reach out to our office to learn more about, we learn much more about community needs assessment. And that's my kick out, Chair.
CC Community Board 1. All right, okay. This meeting, can I get a motion to adjourn? Argelia makes a motion. Sanji has a, wait a minute, before we go, Sanji.
Sorry, on the survey that the DM just mentioned, we have sent the link via the newsletter. You can sign up for our newsletter. I can send you the link. I'll give you the link. You can come up to me since we have to go so fast and I don't remember it right now. But the link to the direct survey is bit.ly/42KAHDQ. And I can also share that. We've shared that on the newsletter, on the social media pages and all of that. And I can also share how to sign up for our newsletter. So thank you.
All right, I think we might do the meeting here more often. Can I get a motion to adjourn? Mohammed Sheikh makes a motion to adjourn. Can I get a second? Claudia Rahman seconds that motion. Any discussion on that motion? Any nays? All in favor say aye.
That was.